highlights late last night just so we can talk about it.
All right, good Saturday morning to everyone. We're back here on Sportschat. I know it's been a while, but guess what? We're back. Let's go. We got with us today. We got John with us, and we got Ron all the way down in the ATL. What's going on, John? What's going on, Ron?
Man, it's a holiday for me today. This is my favorite day of the year, the beginning of college football. Man, I'm telling you, I love all sports. We talk all sports on this channel, but by far, this is my favorite time of the year, and this is my favorite sport to talk about, college football. So let's get at it. Let's get at it.
All right, Ron, what's going on down in the ATL, Ron?
Hey, we crazy about football down here, as you know. Yeah. I'm broadcasting from Sports Central. This is where when I make my guest appearances during the year, I will be here. So, my wife hates me now, but hey, we gotta get
listen.
In.
All wives have to go sit down somewhere for the next 3 or 4 months because this is our time. This is our time.
Did you guys get the thing I sent you the other day?
Oh, where the guy passed the thing to his wife?
Gave the letter to his wife.
Yeah, I saw that.
That wasn't that great? That was great, right?
There's so much realism to that. It's not even.
And what I like about it, oh my gosh, it was excellent. He said, "I'll see you around March."
Yes, sir. Don't bother me today.
She said, "I'm not signing that." Man, that is fun. That is.
I'm reeling too. I said I'm reeling a little bit today because my Blue Devils got 50-piece last night by Roswell High School. Roswell High School. So you can let me just say you can get blown out, and they did.
Stick to basketball, Duke. Stick to basketball.
Well, listen, what I heard, what's the name towards ACL, huh?
Tank son, Malachi, man.
Yeah, Malachi. Tony's son is a beast, John, but towards ACL.
Really.
Yeah, he's one of the best D-line juniors in their area.
Wow.
Towards in practice.
Yeah, chasing the quarterback in practice.
Chasing the quarterback in practice.
Their team played last night. They did win their game. I'm sure Malachi was eating his heart out, but
yeah.
Oh,
that sucks, man. That's a season.
And they were salivating for him to do big things this year too. Mm-hmm. Coaches love him.
Yeah, when he sent the message the other day, he just took the air right out of me.
Just took the air out myself. I was like, oh.
Yeah, he was squatting like 400 plus, man. He's just ready to roll.
I think it's 435.
Whoa. Yeah, he's ready to roll, man.
Wait, and you know what he told his dad? He said, I was scared to do more because it was kind of light. I didn't want them to be going too crazy.
Their team is good, man. They look like they have a good chance of winning their region. Sorry, he's not gonna be able to play, but they'll build them up and get them ready for next year, man. But yeah, they have a game called the North versus South game. They played this team from the south side of their county, and that game is next week. So they were gearing up for that one, man. And the quarterback from South last year, he actually goes to Colorado now. His name is Casey Weissman. He was a top D1 prospect, and he went to play with Dion.
Went to Dion, huh?
Yeah. So South is reeling a little bit. I think Malachi's team probably would 30, 40 piece them. But yeah, they're looking forward to that game. Yeah. But anyway, let's get into it.
Today's a big day. I'm gonna get you guys picks for your Final Four this year, college football. John, your boys are supposed to do big things this year. Can they handle the pressure?
Well, this is the thing with Michigan. We do well as an underdog. We do well.
Correct.
Historically, we have not done as well being a front runner. I'm hoping that we can change that this year. We've got the most, I would say, of any of the actual contenders for college for the national championship. I think we've got the most coming back. We've got our seasoned quarterback. It was a great surprise to me when Blake Corum decided that he was going to come back and team up in that powerhouse backfield with him and Donovan Edwards. We lost our main offensive lineman, the heart and soul of our offensive line, Oluwatandi, but we got another transfer that's supposed to be just as good. And for the last 2 years, our offensive line have won the award for the best offensive line in the country. Defensively, we're solid. We got Will Johnson, who's supposed to be one of the greatest best cover corners in college football this year. We're loaded, man. And the only thing that we don't have is that recent experience of being the front runner, being the favorite. So can we handle being the favorite? If we can, I think we can get at least to the Natty. And once you get to the Natty, hey, anything can happen. So I'm looking forward to, we've got a couple of trap games on our schedule. I'm a little afraid of that Penn State game. They got Drew Allard, that's supposed to be this huge 5-star quarterback that's coming in. They've got a powerhouse defense in Penn State. Ohio State is going to be Ohio State, obviously. And then
when does Michigan play Penn State?
They play Penn State
early or
right around mid-October. So
okay, yeah. So that's a good gauge because
they're in Happy
Valley. It all depends
Valley.
On when you catch them.
Yeah, they're in Happy Valley, but thankfully it's not that Happy Valley whiteout game, because that is one of the most intimidating scenes in college football. Watching all of that is just one of the most unbelievable scenes that you'll ever see. So thankfully it's a noonday kickoff. So, we've had some success against Penn State, and hopefully we'll have that type of success again this year. And then I'll be honest with you too, your boys, as up and down as Michigan State has been throughout these last couple of years, when they see those maize and blue helmets, man, it just does something to them.
You can throw the records out.
Throw the records out the window, especially when the game is in East Lansing. We saw what happened 2 years ago. So those are my trap games, and of course, Ohio State's always going to be Ohio State. So I think we can get through this season probably with one loss, and if we do, we'll be sitting pretty and looking good. Even if we don't make it to the Big Ten championship, an 11-1 Michigan team will be a nice selection for the college football playoff. So I expect
Does Michigan play Purdue this year at all? Who's got Purdue?
They don't play Purdue, but they do play Minnesota, which is, I think, a bit of a trap game as well, although they didn't look pretty good.
Those Big Ten powerhouses always have to be careful of Purdue at Purdue.
Yeah, at Purdue. We don't play Iowa. We don't play.
They've snatched all. They've snatched it all. They slapped Michigan. They slapped Ohio State. The 1 year when Michigan State was in the semis, Purdue, it came down to the wire at Purdue. So watch out for that Purdue. I don't care what their record is. At Purdue, they get up for the big guys.
Very dangerous opponent. Especially on the road.
I see out there Eric and Jackie. Jackie is a big Jackie Williams. She lives back in Erie now. She's a big Alabama fan.
They got issues at quarterback. I've never seen they got huge.
Well, they're saying that they're gonna kind of go back to the power game.
They better.
That's an excuse. You know what they say?
Running.
If you don't have if you got two quarterbacks, you got no quarterback.
You got no quarterback.
And I think that's a big question mark around college football in general this year, right? The Georgias, the Ohio State's starting Kyle McCord today. He's a 5-star that I saw back in 2019. He's from Pennsylvania, and they came down here and played Marietta about 4 years ago. We beat him, right? But he's a top-notch quarterback. But
how did he look back then?
Oh, the guy was out. He was outstanding. That game is if you go on ESPN, just Google whatever that team was from St. Joe's, I think, from Pennsylvania. It's a private school. He was on that team with Marvin Harrison Jr. At the time. Yep, they play high school.
Okay.
Together.
But let me ask you this, Ron. Don't you think? I think it was kind of telling that for a guy in Kyle McCord who's been in their program as long as he's been in, this is his third year in Ohio State's program. He didn't secure the job, and I'm saying secure with quotes, because the only thing that Ryan Day would say is that he's starting today against Indiana. Doesn't name him the actual starter for the rest of the season. I'm surprised for a guy who is as highly rated as he was, and he was highly rated in high school. Matter of fact, the Ohio State chose him over J.J. McCarthy, our quarterback, which gave J.J. a lot of incentive last year going into Columbus, but we ain't going to talk about that. But I'm surprised it took him as long as he did to secure that starting position. I don't know if they're as strong as quarterback as they. Ohio State have had some top-notch quarterbacks these past 10, 15 years. Top-notch. I don't know if Kyle McCord measures up to what they've been accustomed to in Columbus.
To be honest with you, I had almost forgot about him because I thought coming out of high school he was gonna jump right into that spot.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud showed up. He had to wait a little bit behind him and Fields, and now he's worked his way up through it. We'll see how he performs. They're very demanding in Columbus. If he slips up, they'll be calling for somebody else. And I think all the big college teams are all in that same boat with the questions around their QBs.
Yeah.
Right? It's, hey, who is going to be the guy that steps up? Georgia's got a lot of talent, got a quarterback question.
You're down in Atlanta. What are they saying about Georgia's quarterback? What are they saying about him?
They were showing
what's the deal with the quarterback in Georgia?
Carson Beck is his name. He's got two guys though that were two top quarterbacks in Georgia, Vandergriff and the kid from Tiger, Georgia. Both of them were top-rated quarterbacks over in high school over the last few years. I think Vandergriff will probably be the guy. If Beck slips up, he may be the guy that jumps right up, right? But both of the two guys they got behind them were top, 5-star prospects. So they got a lot of talent. But Beck has just been waiting his turn in line, and he had some good numbers last year. But we'll see what happens. But again, the demand, they got a lot of talent, man.
How's that defense looking for Georgia?
Oh man, it's
how's their defense looking this year?
Yeah, they put 15, 16 guys in the pros over the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they're crazy. They're still loaded.
Insane.
They're still loaded.
Insane.
Yeah, so they'll be right there, man.
I was listening to what's his name? Mel Kiper and what's the name show this morning.
Yes.
When I was coming and
we lost you, Herm.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, your signal's not.
I see you guys.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can y'all see me?
Yes, we can hear you more so. You're frozen, but we can hear you.
All right. Can you?
All right, you're back. Good.
And
all right, you
so
good
they were saying how over the last 6 years or so, I think Georgia and Alabama have gotten like maybe 90% of the 5-star guys, whereas the LSU and the Michigans have only gotten maybe less than 50% of the 5-star guys over that course. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys pan out, because I think Washington is going to be better this year too. LSU is going to be better this year too.
Yeah, I want to jump back to
the SEC. All right, go ahead.
Back to Michigan before we depart from the Wolverines. I think that this is the year that they can show and prove all the work they've put in under Harbaugh. They've taken the steps where they've beaten Ohio State 2 years in a row. They've brought in some top-notch talent. They got national recognition. They got to the big games and stuff. And I think it's just time for Michigan to show the quality of the program that they are. And
I couldn't agree with you more.
and with Harbaugh out the first few games with the suspension, I think the players, to be honest with you, I think they're probably going to play even looser without their coach around, because they're going to be more confident, able to make plays, not afraid of whatever the coach might have them afraid of with him. And I think they might even step up and play even harder and more confident. And then he'll come back and they'll fall right into the groove. But this is the year that Michigan has to say, they really want to people to take them seriously on a national level.
I agree.
This is the year to do it.
I agree.
Because you got Bama down a little bit. Georgia always got the talent, but they got quarterback questions. You can't win without a QB, right? So LSU will be better because, you know, Kelly's brought in the stability of the program. Now he's got the stability he had at Notre Dame, but now he's got talent, right, at LSU. So you know, they'll be better. You're gonna see some teams that have an opportunity, like Michigan, to establish themselves, get into the national picture, and prove that they can play with the big boys. Because it's what it is, man. And then going back to what y'all was talking about, conference play, the Big Ten has always been a gauntlet to run through. You know, because, you know, you have those games where, like you say, you know, you got Michigan State show up one day and say, hey, we're going to don't beat somebody, and they do it. Or Purdue is a dangerous game, or Iowa or somebody just might slip in there, and then Ohio State being who they are. So running a conference like that is tough to run through and go undefeated. And in this bowl and with the playoff, they'll being what it is, it's tough. You know, if you run through the SEC and win one side of it, you know, Alabama always got consideration, even if they lose 2 games, right? So, you know, conference ball is tough, man. But this is Michigan's year to show and prove. I'm looking forward to that. And Herm, I'm looking forward to seeing how your Spartans can. Mel Tucker's got an opportunity to step forward too and establish. He's been there a couple of years now. Now we're gonna see what they got, man. So yeah, but Big Ten's gonna be exciting to watch.
Watching 2 years ago they was 11-2, but I'm watching them last night against Central. They look great the second half, but I see them maybe 7 or 8 games. That secondary is still kind of suspect.
Secondary and quarterback are the 2 biggest questions for Michigan State.
2 biggest things. Kim, I think Noah Kim's gonna be all right. Once he plays, he hasn't played. He hasn't played. If what's name didn't jump in the porter, I would be even more excited. But we'll see. Noah Kim didn't look too bad. You know, first time playing. He didn't make any mistakes, so we'll see what happens. But like I say, this is the year for the big Wolverines to show up and show out.
I mean, I don't think we'll ever have a clearer path to at least the national championship game than we do this year.
But the danger is this. Y'all forget now this year there's no what's the name in the Big Ten. There's no divisions. So for the Big Ten title game is the top 2.
No, that's
next year.
That's next year.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the last year with divisions. And then too, next year everything changes because UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington, they all invade the Big Ten.
You see the potential though of kind of like the SEC does, right? Where the team meets twice before the playoffs even start, right? They play a regular season game.
I'm kind of
play that championship game.
I'm not. I kind of go back and forth on whether I like these changes. I know why they're done. I mean, television contracts, money. But I kind of sound like the get off my lawn guy, because particularly I'm glad they have protected the rivalries. We have to play Michigan State every year. We have to play Ohio State every year. But now you've created a scenario by going divisionless, just the 2 best teams playing for the Big Ten championship.
Right.
You've created a scenario where now Michigan and Ohio State could possibly play 3 times in one season. And you got the game at the end. They could play 7 days later in the Big Ten championship, and then they could meet up in a 12-team playoff. And so that kind of cheapens it for traditionalists like me, because whoever lost that game, and Michigan State as well, whoever lost those games, you had to sit on that L for 364 days.
For 12 months. 12 months.
And now you have a scenario where you got a team that could be playing 7 days later. It kind of it don't sit well with me.
Yeah, that and I see when all the stuff happens in the ACC.
Is the pride factor, right?
Say that again.
What'd you say, Ron?
You're gonna have all these Pacific Coast teams playing in the ACC. I mean, you're gonna have Stanford go all the way to North Carolina and play.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. It's just getting a little crazy. I mean, really, the Stanford Cardinals and the Pacific and the Atlantic Coast Conference. I mean, what sense is that?
And I don't think everything and the problem with these decisions is that they're all made and based upon football. Yeah. You forget basketball,
right? Because football is the bread, the money.
It's the bread one. But you got basketball.
All the other
play 2-3 games a week, and it's like the travel and the logistics of these teams flying cross country. Here's
what I say about all of that. Bottom line is this: the teams in the Pac-12 play better football, recruit better players. You want people to watch. Stop playing subpar college football. Bottom line is, if you're good and you win, people will watch. What's the difference it make if you fly all the way to North Carolina if you still got a trash team? People ain't gonna watch that game either. Right?
Right.
I mean, it's not. The ACC is not known as a football conference, right?
They're
not. So it's all about basketball. But just because you move to the ACC, don't mean your TV rights are gonna be, or viewership's gonna be better. Doesn't mean you're gonna suddenly jump up and be competing with the SEC for the dominance of college football. Play better football, recruit better players. No one cares if Oregon comes all the way across the country and gets whooped by Ohio State. Don't care. Get better players.
Isn't it? I got a question for both of you guys. Isn't it amazing? It amazes me the fact that Notre Dame is still an independent, and they still get all that recognition as an independent. Right?
Yeah, they're a different animal, man.
No, they affiliate with the ACC for basketball, but football, they're still independent. Isn't that just amazing to be that powerful by your own self?
Because they negotiated that television deal years ago with NBC. They still got the NBC broadcast rights. That comes with an audience in and of itself. Plus, they have a very strong alumni and fan base, and those Notre Dame traditionalists. I've never been a Notre Dame fan, but you can't hate on their structure. Like you said, they've maintained that in a conference era where everybody's jumping all over the place. Now their quality of football ain't been the best. They're a little better now, right? They're getting a little better, but they're kind of a different animal, man. It's like like the Cowboys or the Yankees or something.
Me personally, if I were the Big Ten commissioner, I would refuse I would not allow any Big Ten team to play Notre Dame unless they join the conference. They get the benefit of playing those games and getting that exposure. But whenever there's any type of revenue sharing, they don't have to share any of their. Listen, you don't get the benefit of these early season Big Ten matchups if you don't want to join our conference. Then don't play them. Let them play our sisters, Lady of the Poor, and all of these other. I wouldn't allow them to play Notre Dame because they're playing both sides of the fence. They're getting benefits from every angle.
True,
they get to play these matchups.
They're monopolizing is what they're doing. Right?
I don't know. I wouldn't allow any of our Big Ten teams to schedule Notre Dame until they decide they join the conference. Especially with USC joining the Big Ten now. Now their major rival game is joining the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
not a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah,
I'm not a Notre Dame fan.
I don't like him either. But I'm saying I don't. And then too, they're not the powerhouse that they used to be when they negotiated that exclusive NBC deal. They don't.
Correct.
They're
how long was that deal for? How long was that deal for?
It's been going on for a good 10 years or more.
Yeah, more than that, right?
Yeah, long.
Right now,
I think they started it. Whoa. I've been over here. I've been living in my house 20 years. It seems like they started it back then.
Yeah, they're just another program. There's nothing special about Notre Dame. They're just another good to decent program. They don't have anything that Alabama or one of these other blue blood schools have. They just, and so I don't think they don't deserve all of this special treatment anymore. Join a conference or get penalized when it comes down to selecting who gets to play in the college football playoff.
No, I think we're giving them too much time today.
Yeah, that works for me. We done.
They give too much time on the sports chat.
We done with Notre Dame. That works for me. We can move on from Notre Dame.
So what do you guys think of the man? Everybody projecting him to be number one in the pick. And that's Mr. Caleb. I was an Oklahoma Sooner. Now I'm a Trojan Williams. What about the last year Heisman Trophy winner?
I think he's an outstanding quarterback. I think he reminds me of Patrick Mahomes. He's got that improvisability. Yeah. Improvisation. There we go. Yeah. He's got that improvisation to his game where he can sort of adjust on the fly. He's got a strong arm. He is a prototypical NFL quarterback, particularly in the pass-happy NFL that we've become accustomed to today, where the running game is almost obsolete. We can talk about that when we talk about the NFL. But I think he gets a lot of hate. I'm on a lot of college football pages on social media. He gets a lot of hate, and I think it has to do more with Lincoln Riley and his inability to play in those huge games. And even the other night when I watched them against, who did they play?
San Jose State.
Yeah, his defense gave up 28
San
points.
Jose State.
They got a lot. They're great offensively, but they got a lot to correct on defense. But I'm a Caleb Williams fan. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I saw him on a Wendy's commercial the other day, so that NIL money must be good.
Absolutely.
I think. And speaking of NIL money, I'm gonna raise that topic in a little bit, but I think that he's gonna have an outstanding year. Those questions about Lincoln Riley winning the big game will continue to haunt USC when they play, when they get to the big stage. But Williams probably going to have an outstanding year, be the number one player taken in the NFL draft, depending on who picks first. And, he's just going to, ride this one out this year and then be ready to go to the NFL. Yeah. Guy can play, man.
He's an outstanding quarterback. He's an outstanding quarterback.
So we'll see how, that all ends up with him. But, great player. So let me just go ahead.
So, again, Ron, what's the big hubbub in the South? Are everybody sold on Georgia? Are they back to Bama? Or what's they saying down there?
Nope. The feeling is that Georgia will run the table in the SEC, and then eventually run into Alabama in the SEC title game. The question about Alabama is just the same as Georgia, really, is who's going to play quarterback. They probably have an even bigger question.
Yeah, I think Alabama have bigger questions at quarterback. Because I watched their backup last year while Bryce Young was out. I was like, yikes.
Well, Alabama saying they're going back to, smash mouth type
that
football.
They might not have a choice with this guy at the helm, because I was like, I was not impressed.
Yeah, they have a lot of talent. Bama's got a lot of talent, but listen, you can't win without a QB. I mean, only a couple of teams ever did it, right? The Ravens back in 2001 when they won with Trent Dilfer, right? That's probably that's about it. I mean, you got to have a quarterback, man.
Well, he played safe football though, right? Don't do anything to harm and let the defense show up, right? Yeah, Jackie Williams, what you think, girl? What's going on with your Bama? Roll Tide. What's up with the quarterback situation?
Yeah,
they don't. Even their fans don't know. Even their fans don't know, right?
The fans are up in lingo, huh?
Yeah, Nick Saban is probably the best college coach of all time, and he's got questions about quarterback. I mean, he's afraid to announce who his guy is going into week 1. Right. I mean, maybe he's trying to feel it out. He probably knows, but I'm sure he's feeling like, hey, man, I'm just not confident in that. I mean, have you ever had them in the last 10 years go have a QB question? Not really.
Well, he did say though that he got away from what he normally likes because he was so into Bryce throwing it all everywhere. So we'll see.
Yeah, Bryce,
Saban's never really been a throw the ball around type person. He's been more balanced, but when you have Bryce Young,
Yeah.
sometimes the person dictates what you become.
That's true. That's true. We'll see.
I think the team you kind of gotta pay attention to. I'm interested to see how Joe Milton does at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Strong arm, pop. He never really reached his potential at Michigan. But if he can be what I think he can be, because the guy, what was it, Hendon or whatever his name was last year?
Hendon Hooker from last year, yeah.
Hendon Hooker. I know it was 2 H's.
Hooker, yeah, Hooker.
He was phenomenal until he got hurt. But I think Joe Milton can be the key to Tennessee having some sort of success. Are they ready to compete truly against the elite of the elite, particularly against the Georgia? But I think Georgia, their question at quarterback is not as pronounced as Alabama, but they've got some questions too. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to how this year shakes out.
Yeah, Milton's question really is he can play. The question is who's going to catch the ball.
Yeah,
and that's key for everybody.
Yeah, they had a kid that went to the Giants, right? The wide receiver that went to the Giants was their top guy. There's a guy on their team, Ramel Keaton, who was a Marietta guy, right? He was a 4-star wide receiver. He made that big, crazy, stretched out catch last year for them. This is his senior season. He has outstanding speed, good height, used to play basketball. If he can develop and have a strong season, then Milton will have a top-notch target. When they lost the kid that went to the Giants in the draft, who's he going to throw to? So we'll see. I'm hoping Keaton has a good year, though, man. He can play a little bit. He can play. I ain't worried about Tennessee, though.
That's one thing. That's one thing my Spartans don't get enough credit for is they always have good receivers.
Who was the guy who made the one-hand catch last night? That was insane.
I think he was a freshman, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful.
They always had good over the course of the last 30 years or so. They've always had good receivers.
The guy
Getting the ball to him has always
problems
been
last year too.
An adventure.
Yeah, he gave
Mosley or
the guy that gave Michigan?
Reed was last year.
Yeah, he gave Michigan problems last year.
It was Reed. Oh yeah, Reed was good. Yeah. And so now they got Mosley. They got the big tight end that transferred. Clark. So they their offense. I ain't worried about the offense per se. Just that secondary, which used to be a strength. When they had the Trey Waynes and all them, but they've been subpar since they left.
So we're gonna see what happens, man, with the Big Ten and Michigan's and Michigan States. The questions coming out of the SEC. They're talking about Clemson maybe having a big year in the because everyone's being quiet about them. And Florida State's got
everybody quiet. They said their defensive line is powerful again.
Yeah, so we'll see how that shakes out.
Clemson is like everybody else. The caution is the QB.
Yeah, they have a top rated guy that's in there that replaced the Lele kid who's playing out in the Midwest somewhere now, right? So we'll see what happens with them. We got a lot of question marks, man. That's what makes it so much fun.
Go blue, go blue. This has to be our year, man.
John, I hear you, man.
This has to be our year. The stars are so for us. This has because we lose a ton this year.
I pray we won't have to make a trip to the D just to resuscitate John and June and all them.
I'm not gonna listen.
I have to go to Denver for Mike Nice. all these Michigan guys spread all over the country, man.
Anything less to me.
Go to Denver for Mike.
They at least have to play in the Natty this year. Anything less than that is to me, especially with the way everything is set up. We've got our 5-star QB coming back. We've got the most powerful running back tandem in the country, I think. I mean, people might point to Ohio State and look at Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson, but I think we're better, as particularly as a tandem. We've got offensive line, defense, everything is in alignment. We lose a ton after this year. Although I watched our quarterback that's coming in next year, Jaden Davis. Dude is on fire. Almost 800 yards.
Where's he from?
From North Carolina.
North Carolina. Oh, yeah. He played matter of fact, Herm, he was on Cam Newton 7-on-17.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's got skills, man. Yes.
His first 2 high school games this year, he's thrown for almost 800 yards for 8 touchdowns and no picks.
I did see a story about him. One of them shows.
Yeah, so we good. We set up real. He's one of those real nice athletic dual threat quarterbacks so I'm good with our future, but we lose a boatload of talent this year. We gotta get it done this year. Have to.
Let me just give y'all a name to look out for. Langston Hughes High School here in Atlanta is the best high school team in the state of Georgia right now. They're better, and they play one level down from the highest classification. The last 2 weeks, they've beaten Carrollton, who went to the state championship at 7A last year with the quarterback, the superstar freshman Juju Lewis. The quarterback from Langston Hughes is going to Ohio State. He's a lefty. His name is Air Nolan.
Yeah. I know.
All right. Langston Hughes has the best. They played McEachern High School, which is one of the traditional powerhouses here in Georgia. They got the facilities, they got the players, 97% black squad. Langston Hughes ran them out the gym last week. Okay, McEachern went to Langston Hughes, got blown out. As a matter of fact, the kids on Langston Hughes are the kids that Malachi played with when he was in youth ball. And Tony.
When it was Pop Warner, when they went to the
yes,
when they went to the chip.
Yeah, so Aaron Nolan is on his way to Ohio State.
Yeah, Aaron Nolan, I trust me, I done scouted him too. He's a phenomenal. So I think it's setting up really nicely between Jaden Davis and Aaron Nolan. But it's really all about what we do. I'm projecting at least an appearance in the national championship game this year. Nothing less.
For Michigan, it can go really good, or it could be
really bad.
And y'all know that everybody is saying because of the burger deal that this will be the last year for Harbaugh as a college coach. What do you think about that one, fellas?
I think that's what most of that, because I was actually on one of the college football pages that I'm on. Most of that is coming from Ohio State fans who are engaged in a little bit of wishful thinking. They want Harbaugh because here's the thing.
They're praying for Michigan to fall back.
Most of that is coming from Ohio State fans. Because here's the thing, and I challenge Ohio State fans to this all the time. Everybody want to point to the last 20 years. Okay, yeah. I mean, Ohio State's had our number. But I think Ohio State took advantage of what at least for my lifetime, have seen as the worst stretch of Michigan football that I've ever seen. Starting you know what I'm saying? Starting with Rich Rod, the hire. I don't think that Rich Rod was a bad coach because obviously what he did at West Virginia.
Yeah, system just don't work in
the
Big
Ten.
Just the
system didn't work at Michigan. And it threw our recruiting all the way off base.
Yeah.
So by the time that's where that whole statement that when Harbaugh called Ryan Day talk about being born on third base, that's what he was referring to. I said, so everybody points to Urban Meyer's 7-0 record against Michigan. I said Urban Meyer took advantage of one of the worst stretches of Michigan football I said, tell me if Urban Meyer were hired today at Ohio State and he were going up against Michigan at where Harbaugh has the program where it is right now, do you honestly think he would go 7-0 against this Michigan program? Absolutely not.
Urban Meyer to me is one of those coaches that is I really don't even want to hear from anymore. And the reason I've lost all respect for him, man. In terms of that, you're right. He caught Michigan at a down period, but
he did.
I'm just not an Urban Meyer guy, man. I'm big on character. And he kind of displayed his character.
No doubt.
Coaching in the NFL.
No doubt.
So now it's like kind of hard to listen to him just because I've lost that respect for him. Everyone can be redeemed, as y'all know. However, in the world of college football, it's very difficult to get it back once you lost it. And he did catch him in a down period. Michigan's turned around. I think Harbaugh has the keys to the car in Michigan. I think
he's rolling. He's rolling
because he's got them so much success. He beat Ohio State the last 2 years. That right there should let him be able to coach the team until he's ready to quit.
And here's the thing: he's beaten Ohio State with mostly 3 stars and 4. Now that our recruiting is picked up, and we're top. We were in recent years we were top 20, top 30 in recruiting. We weren't even, right now we're top 5, and so if he can beat them with 3 stars, what is he going to do with 4 and an occasional 5-star? So I love where the program is headed, and like I said, I think a lot of that Harbaugh to the NFL is being promoted by Ohio State fans, trying to negatively recruit against Michigan by saying, so we went into Ohio and got the number 1 running back out of Ohio, who was heavily recruited by Ohio State. We didn't do that. We haven't done that type of recruiting in Ohio since the 90s when Michigan was on top of the rivalry. That's how you know it's back. Not just because of the results on the field these past 2 years, but the inroads that we're now making in recruiting, especially in the state of Ohio.
I think that, it's been such a long road for Michigan to climb back. I don't think that they're ready just to let Harbaugh just walk away to the NFL. He's done that, right? I mean, he coached the 49ers. He got him to the Super Bowl. He's been through that roller coaster. I don't think at this stage, he's an older guy too. He's in his late 50s, right? I don't think
I think he might. I think about 58.
Right. At this point, why go back to that? He's young. Yeah, he's young. But why go back to that headache, man? Why go back to having to answer to some billionaire owner when you've already, for Michigan, you've got them, because all you got to do is say, hey, we just beat Ohio State 2 years in a row.
He's king at Michigan. He's king at Michigan.
So why go back to that nonsense, man? To be honest, like Nick Saban, why would he go back to the NFL? If Harbaugh has the year that you're hoping for, John, and they get Michigan to the national championship game or they play well, hey, man, why go back to the NFL? Why? I mean, there's only so much money you can have, only so many bathrooms.
Because you can't buy a hamburger and give it to anyone.
You can't do that. But they said that what's his name? Peyton Manning's nephew is going to make more money this year off his NIL deal.
That's what I'm
coaching the quarterback in the Bengals.
Ron, make it make sense, Ron. Make it make sense. You can give a kid $1 million NIL deal, but you can't buy him a hamburger. It make sense.
And that's across the board. When Jackie Rose was being recruited by Syracuse, right? And so we went up to Syracuse to see her at kind of like her parents for the visit. And so we went into the hotel where they were staying at for breakfast. And the coach literally came to us and go, "Oh, you can't pay for her breakfast." We like, well, yeah, no problem. We'll cover our we got our spot covered. Don't we? We're not bothering with her. But yeah, he actually told us that. And this was tracked. This was tracked.
Ridiculous, man. It's just so many inconsistent rules. If you hire an agent, you can't come back to college. Oh, but a guy can go play minor league baseball, a professional career for 5 years, and come back and retain his college, his amateur status.
True.
Just ridiculous. They need to get rid of the NCAA as a governing body. I'm sorry, it's just stupid. It's stupid to me.
There's a lot of issues behind that. We won't get into them in depth on this call this week, but there's a whole lot of reasons for a lot of this stuff. I just think that again, the NCAA picks and chooses who they want to call out. I heard
what they want to. Yeah, they nitpick. Yeah,
they said like 18% of the
whoever they want to
apply for an exception.
Whoever they want to make example. Because really,
they've only accepted
the way it's set up now.
Applications.
The way it's set up now. They need to have a show and say to Reggie Bush, Reggie, we forgive you. Reggie was only doing then what's going on everywhere now.
You know what I say about it? It's just like I've always said it in New York, for example, right? horse racing is a big thing. It's a horse racing. This the last. They have the track at Saratoga. Horse racing
last week.
Horse racing is celebrated in the state of New York, right? But just 60 miles down the road, you have the Baseball Hall of Fame that won't let Pete Rose in because they said he bet on baseball. I mean, the hypocrisy is insane. So tell me, those same people that won't let Pete in are betting on the 5th race up in Saratoga, right? So make it make sense to me. I never understood it.
No, and Ron, listen, not only that, now, before any sports game, basketball, football, baseball, they come on with FanDuel.
Exactly. FanDuel is a major sponsor of these sports.
And they tell you, they tell you the game is starting in a few minutes. Don't forget to place your bet.
And as I've always said, Pete Rose had 4,200 hits in his career. I don't care if he was calling the bookie from the dugout phone with 4,200 hits.
Bro, there's nothing that you saw Pete Rose on the field that even remotely led you to believe that he compromised any baseball game that he was involved in. Nothing.
And the sad part about it is he just doesn't have a spot in the room.
Right, he got a spot.
Everything else he did is posted. The bats are there. The shoes are there.
So they're making money. They make money off of Pete Rose.
Sure, they're making money off somebody who's not
won't let him in the Hall of Fame.
If anybody ever asks me if Pete should be in the Hall of Fame, I'll tell him one thing. I said Cal Ripken Jr. played for 19 straight years. 19 years, didn't miss a game. And Cal Ripken was not a scrub, right? He was not a dude who just rode the bus. He was an outstanding major league player. Didn't miss a game for 19 years. He only had 3,100 hits. Okay, Pete surpassed him by 1,100 plus hits. Yeah, listen, 4,200 hits. 4,200.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's insane. And Cal Ripken played for 19 years and was not a scrub and only ended up with 3,100.
That's insane.
But that tells you right there. Hall of Fame, and there ain't no Hall of Fame if Charlie Hustle ain't in it.
Listen, that big red machine in Cincinnati, that was
awesome. It was the big red machine and the Oakland A's. They used to go head up.
Yep.
Head up.
So the hypocrisy behind the gambling in sports is just that. Those same guys, like I said, that are up at Saratoga today watching the 5th race are those same sports writers that are keeping Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Tell me they guys.
They're gonna leave their condo at Saratoga and go back to their mansion up in Coopertown.
Well, there you go. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, it's the truth.
John, make it make sense, man.
Make it make sense. And it doesn't make, but that's the world in which we live, where money rules and everything else is. Like I said, they're making money off of Pete Rose's likeness. They're selling bats that just everything. It's just like, you're gonna do all of this blatantly out in the public in the open, but you still won't let this man in the Hall of Fame.
Right. But make sure you give me my $25 so you can come in and see his bat.
Right.
You feel what I'm? Hello.
Yeah.
You can't come with $50.
Might be $40.
Right.
No, it's true.
Hey man, listen, it's all about the money.
Come see his bat. Here's his shoes.
and all that money is why you're going to see Stanford playing at Clemson in the ACC.
Yeah, but it's just logistically these moves don't even make sense. I know. I mean, with the cost of everything rising, I'm sure the cost of airtime and the cost of, but it's just like, when is enough enough? That's what my question is. When I saw we bring in UCLA and USC in, then I found out, okay, now we're picking Washington and Oregon. I'm just like, when is enough enough?
No,
this game is going to look. They're setting it up like the NFC against the AFC. Basically, you're going to have two Big Ten, SEC, and everybody else is just going to be swallowed up, and it's just not going to. The playoff field jumps to 12 teams next year. I guarantee you, 10 of those 12 playoff teams are either going to be from the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's like the Cowboys residing in the NFC East against the Eagles and the Giants.
In the NFC East.
Last time I checked, Dallas was in the
Why
West.
are the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East?
And they've always been in the East.
The East,
always.
All about money. You know why?
It make sense.
The NFL said that the Cowboys are the most popular sports team in the world, right? The most valuable sports team in the world. So it only made sense that they play the teams from the biggest sports market in the country, New York, Philadelphia, up the East Coast. You have the most population in the United States, the biggest viewership, and the largest media market. That's why they played it.
They're not going to have them playing against the Chargers every year, and people having to wait until 8 o'clock.
If the Cowboys wasn't in,
like you say, you know, their rivalries, right, are the Giants, the Commanders,
the Redskins, or Washington, and the Eagles. If the Cowboys wasn't there, it's all about money. If the Cowboys wasn't there, they become the Houston Oilers again. They might have been the Houston Oilers. All these years of being sorry, just because they was in Dallas. Look, if they didn't make the playoffs all these years and all that stuff, they would have turned out to be the Houston Oilers. They get a lot of exposure. I was growing up in New York.
$9.5 billion.
Right.
That's what. Wait. Hold on.
$9 billion. Yo, the Washington just sold for
$9.5 billion, and the next closest are the Giants, and I think it might be the Patriots, but they're $2 billion, John. They're $2 billion less. They're worth $2 billion more than the next closest team.
When the Commanders went for 6, if I was Jerry Jones, I would immediately ask for 15.
Right.
We want 15 billion. But you know what? I read an article though. Adam Silver from the NBA. One of the things he said is that they're gonna start opening up to these kind of governmental like the Saudis and stuff, because the checks for the valuations of the teams now are becoming so high that there's not a lot of Americans left that can write those checks.
Yeah.
So, for these teams, that's why you see these groups coming together. 4 or 5 different billionaires.
The guy that just bought the Phoenix Suns, Matt Ishbia.
Yes,
I used to work for him.
Michigan State, yeah.
I used to work for him at his mortgage company. He basically sold all of his company stock just to be able to finance that deal, and I think that was like $3 or $4 billion.
Yeah,
it's just like, this is getting outrageous. But yeah, it makes sense for Adam because you're gonna have to open it up to more people around the world to be able to buy these franchises.
And look, that's why, and that's why the NBA has those preseason games in Dubai.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. The Middle East,
he's already putting that link together.
Look, the owners in the NBA teams, they love it. They know where it is, man. They know what it is. Wealthy people roll with each other. They know, and that's how he said it. The valuations are getting so high, a lot of people can't afford the teams anymore.
It's getting ridiculous, and these player salaries are getting out of control. $60 million a year for what's the kid from Boston? Tatum and
Tatum and Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
$60 million a year for Jaylen Brown. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. A lot of money, buddy.
Well, listen,
a lot of money.
If Silver shaking hands with the Saudi, that money's there, boy.
Man, I know some of these old NBA players are looking at these salaries now like, good.
Oh, I know they be like, I know they hate on it. Like, what?
Because people gotta understand, man, the money, as Americans, we can't possibly know the wealth that the Saudis have. We don't really have clear visibility into that, right? And they say, Bezos and these guys are the wealthiest guys in the world. I don't think so. I think them Saudis got wealth untold, right? From ancient times through all the oil and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's old money. That's that old.
Yeah. So as they open up these things, the Live Golf and what happened with the PGA Tour is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
The PGA Tour had no choice but to merge because they can't match dollar for dollar with the Saudis, and they knew that. Yeah. So they said, well, we might as well merge before they buy us.
Yep, they did.
And so when you start to see them start to come into the NBA, come into the NFL, come into college football, which also is a possibility, I'm trying to tell you. I read something too recently. They were talking about the NBA broadcast rights. You know, the NBA's broadcast deal ends after this season. They said that you know, right now they're charging Turner Broadcasting like $3 billion a year or whatever for their rights. Now they're going to be asking for $7 billion. And the two players in for the $7 billion deal would be Apple and Amazon, right?
Yeah,
TNT may opt out because they can't afford to bid against those two.
I just saw the article the other day about Apple. Yeah. Apple's trying to buy ESPN and Disney.
They're trying to buy Disney.
Listen, Apple, if anybody can afford it, Apple has $1 trillion market cap.
Market cap, yeah.
They are the most powerful brand. I mean, listen, we all you can't find nobody. You know what I'm saying? They're everywhere. So if anybody can absorb that kind of cost,
yeah, because they're making cars soon.
Yeah, the Apple car is coming out. Yeah, my
company's a major. We'll talk about it another day. But my company, Capgemini, we have some major clients in the U.S. We all throughout the world. We have a lot of. So I hear a lot of some of these internal workings of what's happening with a lot of these companies. And believe me, there's some stuff coming out, and these companies are moving into all new spaces. And if sports and entertainment is one of them. That'll be just one little division for Apple. So don't be surprised at the NBA. You won't see Charles and Kenny and Shaq on TNT anymore after this season, unless they work out some other type of sports show. Because TNT may not be able to afford them for the NBA anymore.
Well, we'll one of our upcoming shows before the season starts, we'll delve into all the changes that you're going to see this year on broadcast. Right, it's a whole new landscape. Right, familiar faces are gone. You know, it's really, really crazy.
Yeah. All I know is college football.
All right, well, guys, it's almost time to go. So
it's time for that Colorado game.
Let's get your final. Let's get your final
Sports Central
for the national championship playoffs. We'll start with John. Give me your final four.
I have Michigan, Georgia. I think another team from the Big Ten is going to be in again, either Ohio State or Penn State. I can't. Michigan, Georgia. I'll say Ohio State, and USC. You know, I think it'll be Michigan and Georgia for the national championship.
Who you got, Ron?
I got Michigan. I got Georgia. Ohio State, and I think if Bama has a solid season, they may take two teams from the SEC, and then you'll have a Big Ten SEC Final Four, right? Ultimately, I think Georgia may run the table, may win it all with three. All depends on the cornerback play, but I just think the market for the SEC, the fan base that Alabama brings to the table, and all what we were just talking about, all the money that's driven by those teams. If Alabama has a decent season, even with potentially 2 losses, say if they lose a conference game and then maybe in the SEC championship, or even if they win the SEC championship, then you're going to see 2 teams from the SEC get in there. LSU has a shot. That'll be my outside. If I had another 5th team to add, because I think they're going to be better. But I'm going to go with Ohio State, Michigan, Bama, and Georgia somehow in there, and I think Georgia wins in 2024.
I'm gonna go with regretfully, but you know,
paining them. It's paining them.
I like to be truthful when it comes to sport, so a lot of time my hate has to take a back seat. But one of my 4 is the team in Ann Arbor.
Go say it.
He can't even say it. He can't even say the words.
The team in Ann Arbor, and then also the Bulldogs until somebody knock them out. I'll leave them in there. I'm going surprisingly now. The only thing that was going to get them is going to be the sports writers themselves. That's USC Trojans. Only because you know they're in the Big 2, right? They're in the Pac 2, which is USC and Oregon. Really, everybody else is just around. Even the Bruins.
Don't sleep on Washington.
They can come out of there.
Don't sleep on Washington.
Yeah, well, I think Washington.
They got a heck of a quarterback.
It all depends on where. It all depends on where you play them. If you got to go up to Seattle on a rainy, chilly October, November day, I don't care who you are. You got a dog fight on your hands. Mm-hmm. And then if they survived, Utah is always tough now.
Oh yeah.
So, but I think their offense is enough. You got to score points when you play USC, and so their defense is shaky. So, but I'm gonna give them a shot because I like Caleb. And then I'm going for some reason, I don't know why, but I'm looking out this year for the LSU Tigers. The quarterback, he started out with Herm Edwards. So he's harnessed, well trained, and he got a lot of talent. And I think he's got people to throw the ball to as well. There's always talent at LSU as long as Kelly doesn't jack it up. That's my 4.
And he's his second year in that program too. So I think with Kelly being there, that's why I say I got LSU kind of right on the fringe. So they might slip in there. Yeah. If not Bama or Georgia, LSU gets that second nod from
because and Kelly always did well at Notre Dame without the talent
exactly
that he has at LSU.
And he doesn't have the academic standards that he has to contend with at Notre Dame.
Mention that, John.
Right.
Academics. They go to class, do they?
I'm saying it's hard to get into Notre Dame.
Is it still required for 2.0? I don't know.
Right.
You just can't be the kid from Carolina, right? That they're making sit out. The receiver.
Yep. Who knows, man? It's NCAA. All I know is time for some football, fellas.
We got to make an example. Well, people, it's 12:04. We got to go because it's that time.
All right.
Peace, everybody.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate y'all.
Come on back next
Saturday is NFL. Ron, we may make you part of the show all the time, Doc.
Hey, man, I welcome you out.
Until the next time. Here on Sportschat. John, Ron, peace. Love you guys.
All right, love y'all, man. Peace.
Yep. Hey, y'all know what? Oh, they gone.